media is more important now than ever before. But more important than just media, I think, especially for content creators, being able to create narratives, the truthful narratives, and telling our own stories is more important than ever. I think the playing field's been like flattened now. There was a point in time where, for someone like myself, if I wanted to make a film and get that out there, I needed Hollywood. You know what I mean? I needed that big production company,
Right.
or I needed that big director to associate with this, and they were the gatekeepers. They would, control how we look on screen. What is our story? What is our narrative? Those days are done. You know what I mean? Now, and don't get me wrong, they're still there, but now the floodgates have opened between all these different outlets like Amazon and Tubi and Fandango and Pluto and all these different platforms that you can sell your content to. As a content creator, this is the best time ever to tell your truth and tell your stories.
In a world more interconnected than ever before, we are unexpectedly affected by things that we cannot see and things we do not know. But there is a world beyond the public eye, a place that the media tells you to fear, a no-go zone. Follow Mike, a world traveler, bringing us to no-go zone stateside and abroad, a travel documentary series that breaks barriers. Mike goes to the places that others are afraid of, where no one else dares to go, to tell their story, the story the media forgets to tell you. See the other side of places like Baltimore, Southside Chicago, Opelika, Syria, and more at MikeNoGoZones.com or Mike No Go Zones on YouTube.
Very preoccupied.
You're definitely enjoying your meal.
That's one thing me and food wear. We go together like hand on glove.
That's what's up, man.
All right, so I guess let's get officially started.
Cool.
So I'm assuming you grew up here?
Yeah.
Miami Gardens?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, man. Been here all my life. Actually, I grew up not too far from where we are right now.
Okay.
That's the irony of this whole shit. But
2 blocks away.
yeah, 2 blocks away, right here on 199th Street and 5th Avenue. And yeah, I've been passing Stadium Diner and these parts of Miami Gardens for like, I don't know how long, fucking 20 something, 30 years. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And it must have been, growing up in this part of Miami, it must be a little different because you're literally in the shadow of Hard Rock Stadium. Back then, Joe Robbie, where every time they changed names. So it must have been strange to see the stadium go up and then seeing people from all over the world converging here every week.
Well, it's crazy, man. Like when I was a kid, this wasn't called Miami Gardens. There was no
Right.
Miami Gardens. You know what I mean? So for a long period of time, we just associated with Carol City, Norland, Norwood, Andover, like all of the different areas in this area. Depending on where you lived at, that's kind of like what you cling to or represent. But then once Miami Gardens officially became a city, a lot of things changed, man. I mean, as far as not just with the stadium, just with the type of businesses that are here and the kind of money that comes through here now. And it's definitely a different ball game here now than it was when I grew up here.
Wow.
For sure.
And I'm assuming you got your shirt on.
Yeah, I do, man, So Hurricanes, them Dolphins, the Marlins, them Panthers, I fuck with all of those teams. When it comes to football, though, I'm definitely a Packers fan as well. He'll tell
Really?
you that.
Okay.
Unwillingly.
He'll tell you that unwillingly. But yeah, man. I mean, definitely all the Miami franchises. I mean, that's only a must. You gotta represent those,
And did you go to film school here?
No, so I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I never went to film school at all.
Really?
So it's one of those things, man. Like I got my start doing this film shit. Actually as a rapper, like me coming up, all I ever wanted to do was like make records and rap and just be the best rapper I could be. And honestly, Ricardo, my brother, in case y'all haven't met him, Ricardo said what's up to the folks right there on the camera. Anyway, but Ricardo was CEO of the label, my manager, and just helped kind of really push me in the direction I was trying to go into as an artist. And the first thing that we realized right away was, shit, we need visuals, we need music videos, we need a way to kind of like show what the fuck it is we're talking about. So, we invested in a camera, 2 cameras actually, and they know what the fuck we were doing. They know how to shoot or edit or what the fuck is Premiere, what is Final Cut. Nobody knew anything about any of that shit.
You should have hired Philip.
Yeah, we should have, man. Shout out to Philip, you know what I'm saying, wherever he just went. But yeah, man, we just started shooting music videos, man, and it went from shooting my music videos and just, that was kind of like, I guess, my school, you know what I mean, was, finding a way to turn my records into visual, masterpieces, and then it went from that to shooting videos for other motherfuckers. Then it went to, shooting documentaries, and then next thing you know, I'm like, oh shit, I got a couple of films under the belt. So yeah,
And,
man. It wasn't your traditional way into the film.
Right, because most people get their film school and then they start making the student films and all that. And,
Yep.
And for Murder Gardens,
Yeah.
the funding and the distribution. How
Yeah.
did that work out?
So that's another crazy story. So Murder Gardens is a completely self-funded project, right? There's no investor behind it. There's no big Hollywood studio behind it. There's no, angel investor dropping loads of cash for us to pull that off. Murder Gardens was a passion project. It's something that I wrote the script for that maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Reached out to Rico, obviously, because anything I do, he's gonna be a part of it. And he was like, "Yo, man, let's find a way to really do this shit." I reached out to another partner of mine named Daniel Dean, and we brought him in as like our DP, kind of director of photography. And the good thing about this situation is between Daniel, myself, and Ricardo, we already owned all of the equipment that we would need to kind of shoot this shit. So the next step was, casting and just finding actors and actresses that can really portray the images that were created. And that was it, man. This project is a combination of just blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of hard work, and that was the funding behind the project. Pretty much blood. Now, as far as the distribution of it, we did a partnership with Maverick Entertainment. Shout out to Doug and everybody over there at Maverick. And yeah, we did a distribution deal for the film, and now it's on Amazon, Sling TV, Fandango, Tubi, and more platforms to come. So that's a great partnership. I'm looking to release a few more films with them next year. And just keeping it going.
That's where I saw the film, on Amazon.
Dope.
Okay, so
What'd you think when you first saw it?
I enjoyed it because it's your classical gangster tale.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy the shots he took of Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah.
I like the reference of the protagonist, Chase.
Yeah.
When he meets his older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a line in there that really caught my eye. He goes, well, I do my business in Miami Gardens, but I sleep in Aventura.
Right.
For everyone watching, Aventura is the town next to here.
Yeah, it's not that far.
And it's...
But it's very different.
Very different. It's
Miami
a very, my parents live there.
Right,
To give you an
right.
idea of what kind of neighborhood it is, my parents live there.
Right.
All my family lives there.
Right.
So I kind of like that because a lot of people do that. They do their dirty work in one area, but they sleep somewhere else.
Right. And I think that also was a kind of authentic way to kind of tell that story. Because like you said, not everybody wants to shit where they eat, for lack of better words. So,
No,
and also it was a way to kind of highlight some of the other cities in South Florida and just kind of, bring attention to those cities as well. Because I didn't want the film to just be about hood shit and just the hood and projects. And it's not that. Miami's too diverse of a city to focus on the negativity of the city, But I also wanted to show the reality of what happens in the city, and a lot of it's negative.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, yeah.
And the locales, were they any in a studio, or was it all like...
Nah, it was all on locations.
On location?
Yeah, nothing was in the studio. Everything was actual locations, actual people's houses, and actual neighborhoods, actual strip clubs. And I think all of that is what made the film authentic. You know what I mean? A lot of times films are shot in these big Hollywood studios, which is cool if that's the look you're going for. But with a film like Murder Gardens, especially for Miami to finally have its own feature film on that level, it kind of had to feel real. It had to feel authentic, and it had to be authentic. And the only way to do that is some of the shit you can't fake it. You know what I mean? You got to actually go out there and go shoot that shit. And we had a lot of those scenarios. I mean, we have had cops roll up on us in the middle of filming. We're shooting out here with no permit. You know what I mean?
Man.
And cops are rolling up, and they're like, "Yo, we could shut this shit down. We'll let you guys finish." You know what I mean? And I think a lot of that, some of that is just obviously good timing. Some of that is just blessings or luck, whatever you want to call it. And then the other half, I think, is just people realizing that, yo, these dudes are passionate about what they're doing and not causing any fucking trouble, and maybe what they're making could be great. Let them fucking make it. So, thank you, sir. Thank you. Don't mind if I do. Thank you. So yeah, so it was one of those things, man.
Not to give it away, but the strip club scene, was that at the office or at Tootsie's?
I was at both. We shot that at no, neither one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We shot that at Coco's.
Okay.
And we also shot at no, Coco's. Yeah, that was all at Coco's. Yeah.
Well, the pool scene was the strip club down in Hialeah.
That's what I was thinking
Okay.
about. Yeah.
And is this also meant to be a series?
Yes. So it's funny you asked that. All right. So it was written as a series. It was never meant to be a feature film, and it was actually filmed as a series as well. It was edited to be a series, and when it was time to go into distribution, it was suggested by one of the platforms we were going to just take this whole thing and convert it into a feature film as far as exposure is concerned, and people being able to see the film in its entirety. And that actually was a good cause. But the whole time it was being made, it wasn't made to be a a movie at all. It was definitely made to be a series,
Okay.
and it still is a series. So we're gonna do a part 2, and then right after that, man, I want to go into the TV version of this thing and just kind of like, just keep it going.
Something like The Wire.
Yeah. Yeah, this film, I mean, this series kind of does remind me of like a Wire,
Yeah, that
for like
grimy,
Miami.
underground.
But to your point, I want to be able to show all the different elements of Miami the way the Wire did. I feel like, they were able to show Baltimore through the eyes of the dudes on the street, and through the eyes of the cops, and through the eyes of the newspaper, and through the eyes of the politicians. So, and I feel like that's how you get the full picture of what's going on, is when you're showing all these different viewpoints and not just one person's perception,
Okay. All right, so now for the serious questions.
Yes.
Growing up here in Miami Gardens, under the shadow of the stadium, the stadium attracts the Super Bowl, concerts, festivals. The Dolphins play there.
Yep.
The Hurricanes play there. It seems like the whole world, their eyeballs are on that stadium, but yet, no, it doesn't really affect the community at all. If I
Yeah.
give you a point of view from where I live, when I go to a game, to an event, I roll in from the turnpike, I go straight into the stadium, and I leave as soon as it's over.
Right.
I never linger, and shame on me for that.
Right.
I never heard anyone in my group say, yo, let's go to this place before the game
Right.
or after the game.
Right.
And like I said earlier, it kind of seems like Miami Gardens is getting the short
Gets
end of
lost
the
in the
stick.
shadow, yeah.
And hopefully that will change in the future.
I think so. I think it's already changing a little bit. I know years ago, especially like I said, when I was growing up, I would watch Dolphin games and I would watch, the games on TV and different events that are happening at Miami Gardens, and they would always say Miami on the TV. It would never specify what part of Miami. You get what I'm saying? And I think this year with this past Super Bowl, that changed. You know what I mean? I think there was a lot of attention actually on Miami Gardens and where the Super Bowl was going to be hosted at. Now, I do agree to your point that the residents of Miami Gardens didn't necessarily feel, the benefits of a Super Bowl coming to the city. You know what I mean? And a lot of that's a deeper question as far as politics are concerned. But I do think that it is changing a little bit, and the proper attention is starting to get placed on Miami Gardens, as far as it not just being that negative stigma. The other part of it too, I think, for a long time, the development in Miami Gardens as far as businesses are concerned wasn't really there. Like when you look at 27th Ave right now, it is completely different than how it was 5 years ago. I mean, you got all types of restaurants there now. You have cigar shops there now. You got, Walmart's in that parking lot right there. So there's so much things there now. They're building like 4 or 5 hotels right there on 27th Ave now. So now the landscape around the stadium is going to be an environment that cultivates business and wants to keep people there. Before it was like, you see the game, there's nothing else there. Fucking leave.
Yeah,
The game in the flea market.
That's it. Yeah,
That was it.
So I think I think it's definitely changing. I think the city's doing a great job of trying to push it into that direction. So and we got the Super Bowl coming back. What is it, 2022 or 23?
Next year's in
20
Tampa.
Yeah,
so
it's the year after that, I
It's the
think.
year after Tampa. It's somewhere else. So it's like 2023.
23. Yeah, I think it's Vegas after Tampa.
Vegas
Yeah,
after
yeah,
Tampa.
Okay.
And
And I'm glad you mentioned about the hotels, because as of right now, there's only one hotel in Miami Gardens.
Right.
That's it.
That's the
The old El
Yeah.
Palacio. Yeah,
That's
Stadium
it.
Hotel.
Forever. You look at that hotel, it doesn't even fit the city.
No, no.
It just runs down. You look at it, it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
why would you stay at this hotel? But
And
that's
to be
the only
honest
one.
with you, they're right on the border. They're right on county line. So
Yeah.
like one step further, you ain't in Miami Gardens no more.
Yeah,
so like
one light.
one light path.
you in Broward
Yeah, in
County.
Miramar. Yeah,
It
just
literally
quick.
says entering Broward County.
Right.
Right
El
there.
County line.
Right,
So,
right.
you
Yeah,
know, and then, you can tell how the citizens are kind of like rising and taking a little bit more serious, because they were attempting to bring the F1 series
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
through the city.
Yeah.
And the residents were like, no, we're not having it. We're not coming here to
Yeah.
create the noise, create the destruction of the street, and we get no impact.
No
Besides
impact
the
there.
people that's bringing it here. So
Right.
slowly, I just think, the longer time elapses, the
It'll
more
change.
involved people in the community start kind of like, taking it,
I remember the first year they brought Rolling Loud here. I don't think the city was prepared for that shit. Like that first year that Rolling Loud came, the traffic that shit brought was
Oh
probably the
my
worst thing I
goodness.
ever seen. I remember sitting.
Really?
I remember trying to get from County Line Road to 199 and not knowing Rolling Loud was happening at that time. I just like ran into it by accident, and I was stuck literally between 2 lights. It's literally like 2 lights for 3.5 hours.
Wow.
There was no getting out of it. Like traffic was just not moving, because right around the stadium is not set up for that kind of like
Right.
traffic. You know what I mean? You got to do that type of shit downtown or but Miami Gardens wasn't set up for that. They did better the following years, but
Right.
that first year,
That
I don't think
first
they
year
knew what
was
to
just-
expect.
Hey, here's a venue. Let's show up.
Right.
And the residents you know, they're not in tune to kind of like the planning on the traffic
Right.
and all of the things it requires to
Right.
pull
The
that kind of
logistics
stuff
of
The
Yeah,
off.
logistics of it,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. So yeah, but those
Yeah.
things are changing. Hopefully, it's
All right,
getting
good.
better.
Because one thing we'll notice whenever there's a game or an event held at the stadium, they always take that generic shot of Ocean
Yep.
Drive,
Yep.
South
Yeah.
Beach.
Yeah.
I mean, we know better, but someone watching in Green Bay or LA,
That still happens though.
Yes.
I don't
Oh,
see
yes.
that changing
Yeah,
anytime
I
soon.
don't-
Yeah.
yeah, I mean-
Even before even like with the Super Bowl, they'll show
Yeah.
all these shots of downtown Miami
Yeah,
or
Brickell,
South Beach,
yeah.
and then it'll just say Miami Gardens on the lower third. But other than that, it's not.
that's it.
Yeah, they're not showing. They're not flying over, in Carol City or 27th Ave or whatever. It's like, so that part of it. And that part of it is the selling the dream, you know what I mean? And,
Right,
and
I
the
get
dream is, especially if you're sitting somewhere in Iowa or somewhere where, maybe cold in January or whatever, you want to see beaches and fucking palm trees and
Right.
shit. And, so I get it. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, and this used to be what, Carol City, right?
Yeah.
And then it changed to Miami Gardens.
Yep.
But at the time frame when that change happened, it was so lawless here, which made the city get the moniker Murder Garden.
Right.
I mean, the amount of frequency of violence that would occur here. And,
Right.
And when the mayors that were from here started being elected, that's when some of the changes started
Yeah.
happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they started bringing some of the law enforcement from outside to come here, and obviously the crime rate is continuing to go down.
But that was actually a problem for a long
Long
time.
time.
Like when Miami Gardens Police Department first opened up, it was this huge recruitment of officers that weren't from Miami Gardens. They weren't even from Miami, period. Yeah, they weren't even
Really?
from Florida. They were
Yeah.
coming from Detroit and Chicago and all
No
these other
kidding.
places.
I didn't know that.
And
Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania,
I mean,
and they came
everywhere
down
but
here
here.
like not knowing these streets and not knowing, the city, period. So they came just super aggressive and just
Just being imagine you from New York or PA or Detroit, some of these bigger metropolitan areas, you recruited here.
look at the big story on the Stop and Frisk. That started in Miami
York,
Gardens.
Miami.
Oh, really? Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
That started here.
there's a-
New York was New York as well, but Miami had a huge stop and frisk problem, and it all started with that police department.
Right, there's a super stop here. This one kid got stopped and frisked
Yeah.
43 times.
43 times.
Wow.
One
crazy.
One guy.
43 times to the point where they just started recording it. Like
Right.
the guy in the
Yeah.
store would just start recording
Right.
it, and they would catalog day 1, day 2, day 3, 43 times. And it's like by the same two cops over and over. And it just got to a point where it was just like, it made the news, it made the
Sure.
newspaper,
Yeah.
but
As it should.
it didn't have the outcry that something
It
like
should have
that
had.
now probably would.
And then think about it, over the past, 10 years, we've gone through, I don't know, like 3 different police chiefs.
Three different
They've all
police
been
chiefs.
moved for different corruption reasons, you know what I mean? So, so the city has its own, level of issues. Those things are ironing itself out now, hopefully, God
Right.
willing. But, yeah, so a lot of that is what led to the city being called Murder Gardens, I mean,
Right. And there was a couple of articles that was written on press when the movie landed,
Yeah.
that he was interviewed by some major networks and
That's how I discovered your movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The outrage
Yeah.
over the title of your
Right.
your movie,
Right.
the backlash.
Right.
because we have 2 mayors on record. Because when we initially did the first teaser,
Mm-hmm.
Associated Press did a story, picked it up, and they did actually compare it at the time when it was going to be a series to
Yeah.
The Wire.
Right.
And then when it was released, the new mayor got a chance to comment on that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and to his brilliance, the way that it was written, the name itself at times can kind of be a counter difference to the movie because
Yeah.
the story is to show, even though all this happens around the main character,
Right.
he finds a way to solve things without
Without
resulting
murder.
to
Right.
use
Right.
the same things that you would typically associate that a star in a movie would.
Right.
So he kind of empowered everybody. Watch the movie before you make the comment, but he was smart
It's
enough
funny.
to put that name in there because look at the
Yeah, it definitely got the attention. And the other thing, to piggyback off what he just said, if you watch the movie in its entirety, I don't want to give the movie away,
Right.
but there's one murder in the whole movie.
true.
You know what I mean? It's like 2 shootings in the whole movie. So it's not a movie of violence and bang, bang, shoot 'em up, your typical shoot 'em up film. I think it's more of a film that does highlight the scenarios that a lot of our youth grow up in when you're coming from the city we come from, you know what I mean? And the decisions that you make, and it shows that if you make this decision, you can go this way. You make this decision, you can go that way. But that's all life is at the end of the day, choices and decisions. And
Sure.
I think this film kind of highlighted that greatly. So the name definitely was able to bring the eyeballs. And hopefully once the eyeballs watched it, they realized, oh shit, you know what I mean? This makes sense, you know?
Yeah,
So,
and then that worked because
Yeah.
you got a couple of candidates that were vying to become the city mayor reached out to him.
yeah.
Really?
Because
Yeah,
they
Laverne did.
experienced some of the things that we spoke about, but they kind of see the story for what it was, you know? So,
And I'll be honest with you, the beauty of this whole film is that there's not a politician or anybody, because the only people that had a problem with the Murder Gardens name, to be honest with you, are typically people that work for the city. You know what I mean? In some capacity, whether that's as a, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So the only people that had that's okay. The only people that had an issue with the film are the people that work for the city. But it's not your everyday like resident that's like fire mad that the Murder Gardens name exists, because that name's been here before the film. Everybody
Sure.
was very aware of the name Murder Gardens. So with that being said, I think it's only people that work for the city that have a brief issue with it. And other than that, I mean, I think it kind of serves its
yeah, because
point.
you look
you
at
know?
the comments on Facebook, everybody was like, why you guys, why are you creating a fuss about the name? That's what we call it.
Right.
You know, is Murder Gardens, you know? And if you walk around here with a Murder Gardens t-shirt, the reference to the movie instantly comes up.
Oh, that's what I was going to tell you too. But just to piggyback off of that, there's not a person that works for the city or anybody that had a negative view on the name that was able to really try to paint my intentions in a bad light.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if this film was created by some major Hollywood studio that came in from LA and they're like, yo, there's crime going on there, let's
Yeah.
make a film about it, trying to capitalize, I would understand that. But you're talking to somebody who's been here longer than some of the people that work for this fucking city. You get what I mean? I'm raised here. I went to school here.
Right,
My kids
you're
go to
not an
school here. I
outsider,
own property
making
here.
trouble.
I pay taxes here. Like I am the epitome of a Mind Gardens resident.
Yes.
There is no fucking, I'm not making a film to bash the city I live in. You get what I mean? My kids go to school here just like your kids. So
Wow.
there's no way you can spin that narrative. The only thing you can do is say you're upset about the name. But once they have a chance to sit down and speak with me, then that kind of like usually goes away. So I wasn't bothered by the name really because of those factors. If I was some guy coming from, I don't know, Compton or New York or
Yeah.
something,
No,
and
or
I'm
like a Steven Spielberg killer. Yeah,
and I
yeah.
got like, I don't know, $50 million worth of production people behind me, then yeah, I would get it. I would understand that. But media is more important now than ever before. But more important than just media, I think, especially for content creators, being able to create narratives, the truthful narratives, and telling our own stories is more important than ever. I think the playing field's been like flattened now. There was a point in time where, for someone like myself, if I wanted to make a film and get that out there, I needed Hollywood. You know what I mean? I needed that big production company,
Right.
or I needed that big director to associate with this, and they were the gatekeepers. They would, control how we look on screen. What is our story? What is our narrative? Those days are done. You know what I mean? Now, and don't get me wrong, they're still there, but now the floodgates have opened between all these different outlets like Amazon and Tubi and Fandango and Pluto and all these different platforms that you can sell your content to. As a content creator, this is the best time ever to tell your truth and tell your story. So media is going to be more important now than ever. And one thing that I would like to see that I didn't have the opportunity to see when I was coming up is more black kids in our neighborhoods attaching themselves to media and finding ways to tell their story. Like when I was coming up, all you ever knew about was doing music, grabbing a microphone and rapping, you know what I mean? But we don't get exposed to working the camera, doing video editing, setting up lights, doing boom operator work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no one knows that when you're a kid, so you don't grow up with those aspirations or try to learn how to do it because you don't even fucking know that it exists.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're just
Like,
watching the video for 3 minutes.
you're just
and-
watching the
and
video
you
for
hit
3
next.
minutes,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like besides like Murder Gardens, I have a show I'm producing at NBC, and when I walk on set, I mean, you're talking 25, 30 different people, all doing fucking different roles, you know what I mean? And I can talk to this guy to do this guy to do that, but none of them are black because no one in my neighborhood knows those fucking roles exist. You get what I'm saying? So I think now is the time as a content creator, myself and other directors that are out there, black and brown or whatever, tell your story. You know what I mean? Get the people that look like you and come from the neighborhoods you come from to know they can tell the story too. And that's what I want to see happen with media.
And that's why a lot of movies that are made here sometimes fail, is because
Yeah.
they're not from here.
Right.
They come here and it's all the worst possible locations.
Right.
And sometimes they'll even just use B-rolls and it's shot in LA, and we can tell. You know,
Yeah.
like Dexter was shot here.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be from Miami.
Right.
But the names of the clubs is like there is no, CSI
Yeah.
Miami,
Yeah.
believe it or not, was
Yeah.
supposed to be shot here, but 90% of it was shot in LA. And they just
Yeah.
used some of the B-rolls.
It's funny you say that. There's a show on Crackle that's about Miami. I forgot the name of the show. It's actually a pretty good show, but it's about
Is it the detective show?
nah, it's about something about cryptocurrency, and the main
Really?
girl, she's like She found some kind of way to like money launder cryptocurrency.
Okay, no, I didn't know.
It's a pretty good show actually, but
Sounds interesting.
and it's based in Miami. But the whole show is technically shot in Santo Domingo. It's not even shot in America.
Oh,
Wow,
man.
yeah.
Wow.
And the only way I peeped that is they had a scene that was supposed to be Lil Haiti. Dude, the shit looked like we were in the middle of Jamaica somewhere. And I'm like, dude, I know Lil Haiti very well. That shit don't look like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they had a bridge shot that was supposed to be 95. Clearly it's not, because we know what the 95 skyline
Sure, yeah.
looks like. I mean, the 395 when you're coming from South Beach and heading over, you know what that looks like. So they were able to pull those kind of things off, and it worked. But for a film like this, I would much rather it be authentic.
Because
And
we used to have the tax breaks that bought a
Yeah.
lot of. At one point, this was the #1 location
Yeah.
for films.
Yep, yep.
But
Is it Charlie
Governor was
Christie
Rick
or Rick Scott? One of
Yeah,
them.
he
took away that,
let it
Yeah.
expire. Yeah.
which
Yep.
allows now Atlanta
And we're
and
in Georgia.
Canada
Yeah.
to be predominantly the places that people go and visit. So if you are going to shoot a film here and you have a big budget, you're coming here, it's probably cheaper to go to Central Domingo.
Yeah,
than
no,
it is to-
but it's funny. They said that. Like they interviewed the creators of the film. That was their whole reason for shooting it there. Was the tax breaks. You know what I mean? I mean,
Wow.
can't compare that to
And-
Santo Domingo.
No, and it's just-
No, and Toronto
Yeah.
is usually the double for New
Yep.
York City.
Yep.
Wow.
Or
Yep.
Vancouver.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
A lot of the X-Men movie,
Yeah.
the whole franchise, a lot of it was filmed in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Makes sense, man.
New Orleans gets a lot of film action.
Right.
Yep.
Atlanta. too.
Atlanta. Yep.
I remember Walking Dead was filmed,
Yep. Yep.
Okay, another thing. You got yourself. Who else is big from here? Like Rick Ross, Flo Rida. We're all from this region of Miami.
Yeah.
Would you liken this to like a hub of creativity?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Not just that. I feel like Miami Gardens, Cass City, Norland, whatever name you want to stick to, right? Most of the people that do make it out of there and make it to any level of success, they usually get to like the highest levels of
Right.
success in their
Right.
field. You
There's
know
no
what I
in
mean?
between.
There's no in between. It's either you get stuck here or you make it out and you blow. You know what I mean? Because I think this city creates a different kind of like hustle in people. You know what I mean? Like this reminds me a lot of like we were just talking earlier before we started filming about like New York and just the hustle and bustle of that city and how fast people move and they're just like on it. Miami Gardens is like that a lot. You know what I mean? It's not a slow-paced city. It's not country. It's not like, you know what I mean?
Right,
No
it's a
disrespect to
very
that, but
progressive city.
very
Yeah.
progressive, very
It's a very, very
fast-paced.
progressive
So
city.
growing up here, you grow up like that. You know what I mean? So the ones who make it out, they make it. You know?
Because, for a long period of time, you travel to Broward, you know you're in Broward.
Right.
And then as you start going to like Orlando and Tampa, and people would automatically know you from Miami.
Yeah.
Like people
Yeah.
that were like, let's just say you got locked up for some reason and you end up in some random jail around the country.
Yeah.
Based on your mannerism and how you act, the inmates will be
Don't know.
from Miami.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just the way that
Yeah.
it's in the water here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's in the
Would you call
water
it
here.
swag?
Yeah,
Definitely swag,
Yeah,
definitely.
swag.
Hey man, we all travel a lot and go to a lot of different cities. I can tell you firsthand, I have yet to go to another city that reminds me of like Miami. Like Miami has its own type of people. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It like literally does. Like a lot of other cities are very like similar. Like when I go to the Midwest, a lot of those cities
Yeah.
feel the same as far as the type of people that are there,
Right.
the culture, the way people talk. You know what I mean? But
Gotcha.
in Miami,
Makes sense.
it's like night and day. This is literally like half America, half island, Caribbean island. So it's just
And it's a mixture of so many.
it's a mixture of so
different-
much different things and different paces and different cultures.
Sure. I mean, I look at my background.
Yeah.
I'm first generation American.
Right.
You know,
Right.
immigrant parents.
Right.
Mhm.
And they were from different countries too.
Right. Exactly.
It's a hotbed
Exactly.
here.
It's a hotbed,
And
man.
and it has all those influences. And,
Yeah.
the Hialeah's different.
Oh, yeah.
The Wynwood's
Oh, yeah,
different,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Miami Gardens different.
Yeah.
And then you're Miami Beach, you're
Yeah.
Miami Springs. Then you go south to Kendall.
Oh, sure. I mean, the Homestead, yeah, it's
The
totally.
No, totally
Homestead
different.
is a
It's a whole nother world.
Yeah, it is a whole different world because
Yeah.
when you go down to Homestead, sometimes you almost forget you are in South Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Right.
know, you literally forget that because it is completely different in Homestead. It's so much slower.
Yeah.
It's detached away from everything.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
They've done a good job of building things there, but
Yeah.
nothing compares to this zip code here.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And I was going to throw out the G word, gentrification.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think now with the development of what you told me about what's going to happen by the stadium, do you think that'll lead to
Gentrification?
and-
Absolutely. I absolutely do. And
Yeah.
I think we're seeing some of that to a certain extent right now.
Okay.
And I think that happens in a lot of like big cities. The good thing about Miami Gardens, I don't know if you noticed or not, but it's actually the second largest black city in the South, south of Atlanta.
Yes.
So I think for gentrification to truly happen here, it's going to take a lot longer. You know what I mean? But I do kind of see that happening. You know what I mean? Real estate, from the real estate to the businesses. What's crazy about Miami Gardens is that even though it is the second largest black city, we don't own everything in Miami Gardens. Most of these businesses are not owned by us. Most of these houses and the real estate being sold is
And all
not
the
bought by
chains
us.
here,
Most of the chains here,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, we are the majority residents here, but not the majority owners. And anytime you have that, you're gonna slowly start seeing gentrification. You know what I mean? And people are gonna slowly start going to where they can own shit. you know?
Right. Well, if you ever watched my videos, I use Wynwood as an example. Wynwood was originally a no-go zone.
Oh, trust me, I remember.
Yeah.
There was a point in time when
Yeah.
I was a kid, there wasn't bars and fucking
No, nothing.
art on the streets and like there was graffiti
Yeah.
and there was like heavy gangs over there and shit, and Wynwood was just warehouses and gangs and just
Yeah,
it was
and
just
And Wynwood is kind of warp speed.
Yeah.
They're running out of land there.
Yeah.
So now they're moving this towards Little Haiti.
Little Haiti,
And
yep.
Allapattah,
yeah. Allapattah, yep.
And it's just
Yep. Same shit.
gradual progression. Eventually
And,
you're gonna run out of places.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the first to admit it. I'm part of that.
Yeah.
Guess where I bought my house in Allapattah.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be more and more people like me
Yeah.
buying houses
That's
like
right.
that because I
Right,
can't
right.
afford to buy a house in Wynwood. I
Right,
just can't.
right. No,
Right.
shit. You and me
can't,
both.
you
Yeah.
know, there's nobody in Tallahassee that are fighting for the things south here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
such as rent control, such
Right.
as property control.
Right.
When you have
Yeah.
a for-profit motive where, for example, if you're from Brazil or from China, it's better that you buy an entire block in Miami Gardens than your money sitting in the bank
Oh sure.
because
Yeah.
of just the security of it.
Right.
So during 2008, when the economy tanked, you just had so many foreigners just coming here and just buying these blocks and these properties.
Right.
And
We'll just hold on to it.
Hold on to it,
hold
yeah.
on to it,
Yeah.
and now you can't even live in Wynwood.
Yeah, that happened in a lot of cities, Detroit,
Everywhere.
fucking, yeah, everywhere, but yeah. So
Well, early before the interview, so we talked about Brooklyn.
yeah,
You
same
know,
thing.
it wasn't always.
Yep.
wasn't
Yeah,
always-
yeah, and
As long as real estate continues to be everyone's number one source of retirement,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that there is a for-profit motive without any other option as far as it being a right,
Yeah.
it's gonna always happen.
Well, we all know when it comes to local elections,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest donors to any politician of
Yeah.
any party.
Real estate developers.
Thank you. Real estate developers.
They
That's
don't, yeah, in the
they-
city council,
Yep.
in the meetings,
All of them.
there's always in the back.
Yep.
They're always sitting. They're always there. You
Yeah.
cannot miss them.
Right.
Yep.
They stand out like a sore thumb.
And so imagine you're running, even if you have good intentions
Yeah.
to serve in public office, someone's like, hey, I'll refinance your whole campaign,
Right.
but you have this next
This is what I
zoning
need.
thing,
Right,
yeah, I need
yeah,
this
right,
and this from
right.
you, so what are you gonna do?
Right,
you gonna do?
right,
Yeah.
right.
And I think the quicker we can go to some sort of public financing options of the politicians, the quicker some of that
I do agree with that.
for-profit motive will be out. But as long as it's who can raise the most amount of money, who
Yeah.
can get the most amount of corporate donations,
Sure,
yeah.
it's never gonna end.
Yeah.
Money talks
Money talks.
and
Yeah.
bullshit walks.
That's the name of the game.
Good old capitalism, baby.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game, man.
All right. I think I touched up every bullet
It
point
sums
that
it
I
up,
sent
right?
you. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I got a couple questions for you, man.
Okay, sure. Let's
I
keep rolling.
we're in Miami Gardens. How you feeling right now? Is it your first time here, or you come here pretty often?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I only come here for events
Yep.
at the stadium.
Yep. Yep.
That's it.
Now I got a deeper question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can use or not use. But when you do come here, right? Do you feel threatened?
Personally, no.
No, right?
Everyone leaves me alone.
Exactly.
So, a lot of it's, if you watch a lot of news, it's all bad.
I was just gonna say that. A lot of the nostalgia around the danger in Miami Gardens, and don't get me wrong, Miami Gardens does have danger to a certain extent.
Sure.
But the nostalgia of how bad it really is fabricated by the media. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the narrative that they sell us. You know what I mean? You look out this window right now. You don't see dope boys hanging out there on the street. There's no gang activity, no shootouts or nothing. None of that shit happening. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the streets are the streets, and things happen in every neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Whether it's through drug deals or someone shooting over a girl or cash or whatever, or hating or whatever it is, you're always gonna have a certain level of like murder and violence. But I do think that a film like Murder Gardens can kind of like expose that.
Sure.
And that's why in that film we made it very, very it was a huge point to not make it a bang bang, shoot 'em up, killer type of movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? It had to have dialogue, had to have a script, and it had to have a purpose.
Watch my Opalaka episode. There's a guy making craft beer
Yeah.
in Opalaka.
Opalaka, right?
In Englewood, south side of Chicago, the worst, most blighted part of south side of Chicago. There's a guy started a non-for-profit coffee shop
Right.
and a community center.
Right.
He's doing it against all the odds.
Nice.
And he's still there.
Nice.
The people putting the houses together in the lower 9th Ward, again, they're trying to bring the neighborhood back to life. And what I saw in the Pigtown neighborhood of Baltimore really blew me away. And it's kind of like their Wynwood, but it's all little independent stores.
Right.
Many of them minority owned.
Right.
And whether they're making craft beer or doing cafes, coffee shops, clothing stores,
Right.
Unfortunately, those stories don't make mainstream media.
Yeah.
But if there's a shooting, boom, Fox News is all over
there
it, and they're
right away.
you know, and
Yeah.
they're turning it into something bigger than it is.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that a shooting is something
No,
that should
I
be
agree.
ignored.
I agree. Yeah.
But if they make it sound like the second you walk out your door,
Right.
boom,
It's over.
It's World War III.
Right.
But they will not cover.
The stories
Yeah,
you
the
just
brewery,
mentioned.
the guy making
Right.
craft beer in his
Right.
home, and he's trying to, or making food, and he's, you know, the clothing manufacturer, guy designing his own clothing.
Right.
He will not. If they do, it's like a little blip on the screen.
Right.
While we're all surrounded by, you know, this horrendous news.
Right. Right.
And I'm gonna go on a limb and say this: it's kind of like all our faults. Because I'm gonna, an example. Let's say I publish 2 stories: crime, bad news, and I put the feel-good story here.
Which one
One
are you gonna?
second.
Which
Right.
one? Which
Guess
one are the
which one's
viewers
gonna
gonna
get more
watch?
clicks?
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
say, okay, the one with bad news
Yep,
is
that's
gonna
what
get
they're
a
gonna
million
watch.
clicks.
Yep.
The one with the feel-good story about the guy starting his own clothing line and
Yeah.
open up a store, man, they'll get 100.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So if I'm in charge of a media company, wow, that story got a million hits.
Yeah.
How can I maximize? Let's do another one.
Right.
Let's do another one. Let's
Right.
do another.
Right.
Boom. And that's kind of like how we wound up. Well, the situation we're in now.
Right, right. But that's
And
good though,
next,
man,
you know.
because I think that's needed, man. That's what makes America America. Having the ability to be free press and tell the truth. You know what I mean? Like all of the media companies, they have a reason why they're selling the stories that they're selling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whether it's
It's a
for
business.
advertisement, it's a business. But you, on the other hand, I think you're able to go into these neighborhoods and show people the reality of
Yes.
what's really happening. And that's fucking important, man. Because other than that, we're living a fabricated media story that's being created by who knows who in some executive office somewhere.
Peter Luke.
They on repeated loop.
Yep. And well, so you know, I'm completely independently. I don't have a producer behind me.
Yeah.
It's everything self-funded, and I know we all have our agenda at the end or our own point of view, but I'm trying to be as balanced as I can.
Yeah.
I don't sugarcoat anything in my episodes either.
Yeah,
I don't say,
yeah.
"Oh, life is perfect here."
Right.
It's
right,
not.
Right. Right.
Some areas do have more crime than others,
Right.
but I try to show like, hey, it's not where you know, you walk out your door and you're gonna get
Blown away.
killed away.
Right.
And another fact that gets ignored a lot too, most violence that does happen, let's say whether it's Miami Gardens or wherever, Florida City,
Yeah.
it tends to be gang on gang violence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
not in that lifestyle, if you're not in a
Yeah,
gang,
yeah,
you know,
true.
most people will just leave you alone.
Right. 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 True.
And a lot of people don't. That
True.
doesn't register in their heads. Like,
True.
listen, I'm not in a gang.
Right.
I don't have any beef with anybody.
Right.
Chances are I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. That's true.
Whereas, yeah, if you're in a gang, yeah, you're
Chances are you may get some
yeah,
shit.
yeah, you're gonna catch some heat for that because
Exactly.
that's just life. That's the gangster
Right.
lifestyle.
Right. Right. Right.
And I guess also the gangster lifestyle is kind of glorified.
Yeah.
You know, we all. I'm sure you like Scarface,
Yeah.
Goodfellas,
Yep.
all these. I mean, we all
Yep.
love and adore these
It's true.
movies
It's true.
because we're in love with that lifestyle. The women, the cash, the
Yeah.
flash, the diamonds,
Yeah.
the $50,000 watch.
Yep.
You're like, I want that.
Right. 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 Right.
And not only that, when you live a gangster lifestyle, the money comes quick
Comes quick.
and it comes easy.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean,
Exactly.
it's a very
Right.
you get sucked into
It's
that
attractive,
lifestyle.
yeah.
Yeah, it's you're like, wow, I got the women, the cars, the pool.
Right.
This is the lifestyle I want.
Right. Right. Right.
Whereas if I go work slave away at a 9-to-5 job, it's
gonna
gonna
take a lot
it's gonna
It's
take
gonna take a lot longer. Yeah.
And by the time
65.
Right.
right, and you're too old to enjoy that.
Right,
I want
right,
it now when I'm
right.
still young and I can, you know.
Right. Right. Let me
Still
still
works.
Yeah. Have my flowers like right now while I'm alive.
There you go.
Yeah. As far as the film is concerned, if you haven't seen Murder Gardens, you
I have, by the way.
Oh, he has seen it. If y'all haven't seen Murder Gardens, you can watch it right now on Amazon Prime, Fandango Now, Tubi TV, Sling TV, Vudu. I mean, I can go on and on and on. But if you Google Murder Gardens, I promise you, you will find it somewhere, and you will be able to watch it. And if you want to reach out to me, my name is Mark Samuels, aka King Colossus. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, every social handle under King Colossus, Colossus. That's my brother Rico. He can tell you his info himself.
Yep, follow me at Dayfire Rico 305 and watch Murder Gardens on all platforms.
And this is Mike, by the way.
Yes, and
Mike's cool.
I like Mike. Mike survived.
He survived, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
survived. I'm here.
He's good.